All right, everyone, we got an exciting one here today. We're in Massenomics gym. Tommy's here with us behind the camera, and we're gonna talk about one of our favorite subjects, of course, the Texas Power Bar. And it's maybe like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen here or something like that, where I've assembled this team, this infamous team of Texas Power Bars. I've actually
These are legends lined up.
These are legends, and they're in order for a specific reason. We'll get to each one. But I have been assembling this collection over the last, well, really starting 8 years ago, but really collecting with a purpose for the last couple years. And what we have here in chronological order is the history, the timeline of the Buddy Caps Texas Power Bar. Something, if you've listened to the Massenomics podcast ever,
you know we feel strongly about.
You're going to be pretty aware of what we talk about in the timeline. But now we can actually kind of see the timeline unfold right in front of us here in this video. So I'm just going to start at the beginning, what we've got here. The first bar is...
What year are we going back to?
Yeah, this is actually pre-Buddy Caps having his own business. So if we say that's about 1980-ish in that range, it's pre that, because this is the Mac Texas Power Bar.
Okay, this is after Image Barbell, after Champion Barbell.
Yes, after that, but Buddy had not gone out on his own completely yet. He was working for Mac. And that, at that point, is what was actually called the Texas Power Bar. And you'll see this bar actually still has really nice knurling. I've used it several times. The knurling on the Mac is very good shape still. This one is a pretty sought-after bar. This is a fairly expensive bar. I did have a podcast listener that was selling this, which is actually, I think he's actually even a Massenomics supporting member. So he helped me out. I still paid a pretty fair price for this. I think I paid $400 or $500 for the Mac. And the Mac, what makes the Mac a Mac, you see it stamped on the end. It says Mac Texas Power Bar, and it's actually a little hard to see. You'll see most of these bars are stamped, but they're hard to see. Some people say they have a Mac Texas Power Bar, but they have no stamp on the end of it. So I don't know if they really do have a Mac Texas Power Bar. This one is stamped.
It's just barely there.
Yeah, it's there. You can see it if you look closely. So that's one of the prized possession in the collection. They're all important, but that's where we start our journey, at least, is the Mac Texas Power Bar.
Okay.
And then after that, we get into the generations of the Buddy Caps Texas Power Bars. And the first one here, of course, is the Gen 1 Texas Power Bar. This one came on a journey to me from... this one, I think, came from Big Efren.
Oh, really?
Well-known equipment collector. He sold me this Gen 1 Texas Power Bar. You can, if you look at it compared to the Mac, you'll see a lot of similarities. The way the end of these sleeves are, you'll see when Tommy goes around to that eventually. They're very similar. But the thing about the Gen 1 Texas Power Bar, it is actually not stamped on the end of it. It does not have the familiar Texas logo. So this is the first one that Buddy would have been making. It doesn't have that Texas logo that we've come to know and love on the end of it. The reason being, when he was making this, when he had gone out on his own, the way I understand it, Mac was still producing barbells, and they had essentially the intellectual property still to put that Texas sign on there and call it the Texas Power Bar. So this was really the Buddy Caps Generation 1 Power Bar, maybe not the Texas Power Bar just yet.
Okay.
But then, and just other notes, especially when we're comparing the Mac and the Buddy Caps Gen 1, a lot of stuff looks the same. The sleeves look the same and that sort of thing, but just minor differences here. The center knurling pattern is quite a bit wider than on the Gen 1. And then also, if you look at the ring marks,
they're like non-existent.
They're very thin, and they're actually like knurled over the top of them.
Yeah.
On ours, at least.
It almost looks accidental.
Yeah, maybe they weren't all that way, but ours is, where the Mac has very wide.
Yeah, they're very pronounced.
You know, but like wider than normal, what you would see today on the ring marks. Then we get to a pretty interesting one in the collection. We're almost halfway there. This is the Gen 2 Texas Buddy Caps Barbell.
He's back and better than ever.
He's back better than ever, and this one introduces the actual Texas logo on the Buddy Caps barbell.
Here we go.
What makes a Gen 2 the Gen 2, a lot of people forget about this one. I don't think there was quite as large of a number produced. Tommy's looking at it there now. This one has an actual snap ring on the end of it. The only Buddy Caps Texas Power Bar with a snap ring is this Generation 2, at least that I'm aware of. And you can see in the center of it, the Texas logo is actually stamped there. Our Gen 2, this is the most recent one I got. Actually, there was someone selling this down in San Antonio. It came genuinely from Texas.
Ooh.
And I had another podcast listener that was able to go pick this up for us and get it shipped in the mail to us.
So if you want to collect vintage barbells, have a podcast.
It's good to have a network of people that listen to your podcast that I kind of know about equipment too. So that's the Gen 2. Not a particularly expensive barbell. The Gen 1 and Mac are both more expensive, but this is almost harder to find in my experience because this one with the knurling, or one with the snap ring was tough to find, but ours is not in excellent shape.
It's been used and abused a little more, and you can see when you look through through the ages here.
I also don't know, this Gen 1 might have been restored a little bit more by Efren or someone else over the time. This one hasn't been restored at all. All I did on this one is put a little 3-in-1 oil and brush it down a little bit with a barbell rescue brush. Going from the 2 to the 3, this is the Gen 3 Texas Power Bar. And it actually
looks fairly similar.
Well, they especially look similar in the way that these are both kind of old, and our 2 and 3 are both old and used and abused. Our Generation 3 almost has no knurling left on it. Mm-hmm. It's certainly been used hard. She was rode hard and put away wet, as they would say. I did put a little 3-in-1 oil on it, but I haven't. It's still got some surface rust on it even right now that I can rub off of it. But that one does have the Buddy Caps Texas Power Bar stamped on the end of it. It's just very faint on this one. This bar has seen some stuff. If it could tell stories, boy, would it tell stories. Then we get to almost what I consider to be, for like Tommy and I, our lifting careers. This is like present day.
This is where the story started for us.
Yeah, this is our Generation 4 Texas Power Bar. And this would have been almost like one of our very first bars that we had at Massenomics Gym when we started almost 10 years ago.
And this one has also been used to the max.
And this was a black zinc coated one.
And it looks similar to this, didn't it?
Yeah, originally it would have looked much like this. So this is still a 28.5 millimeter bar, just like these all were. You can see the pronounced ring marks on this one. You know, the knurling has certainly faded over the years. But this bar has been used a lot and is still essentially as good and as useful as the day that we've got it. But this one has been with us for the lifetime of its use. And there again, there's some changes versus the 3, but as far as the shaft and the knurling pattern and the sleeves go, the sleeves did start to get a little bit wider, thicker in these.
But you notice through the years, the sleeves did stay relatively similar.
Yeah, there definitely is similarities. And I guess I didn't point it out, but the Generation 2, because it's the only one with the snap ring, it does not have the roll pins. Like these other ones all have roll pins. You will not see the roll pins on the Generation 2. But then getting to the Generation 4, on the end of it, you'll see the much more familiar Buddy Caps logo, the way we've seen it, you know, that you've probably seen it in a lot of gyms in the past. Then, last, of course not least, this is what I'm at least going to call a Generation 5. I don't know if that's what the industry has dubbed this at officially, but
you're given the nickname right here.
I think it's different enough, and Buddy Caps and Texas Power Bars team, they made some big changes here, so this is a new generation in my books. This is the 29 millimeter Power Bar, all the others being 28. And also with this 29, you can see they made the center knurling much wider again. It actually, the closest one to it is the Mac, as far as width of that center knurling.
Right.
This certainly has the most aggressive knurling as you feel it right now. It's hard to judge a little bit because of the wear and tear on these others over the year, but very aggressive on this. And then because this was the 29 millimeter Power Bar version, they thinned up the collars.
So was there a specific reason for that?
I think it just gets it more in line with what's popularly kind of viewed as 29 millimeter Power Bars at this point. You know, I think it just puts it in similar ballpark as those. And if they were making a 29 millimeter bar because people wanted a 29 millimeter bar, it would make sense to me that they would also make that change on the thickness there.
Right.
End of the sleeve there should look really similar to the Generation 4 that we talked about. That is the lineup. Of course, there are, you know, we've got Texas deadlift bars, Texas squat bars. We weren't talking about those. There's different finishes that you can get these newer bars in, but black zinc is kind of a personal favorite of mine in the newer Texas Power Bars. But I'm very excited to have completed this collection.
This is museum quality.
This
right
is
here.
museum
This is
quality.
lifting in a time machine.
We're going to send this video, once it's all done, we'll send it to Buddy Caps and make sure he gets his eyes on this, and the Texas Power Bars team get to view it. They can tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, what
There
we
can't be a
missed.
ton of people or gyms that have the full set.
Probably
is
not
there?
this full set. I don't know that I've seen it before. Someone probably does, but let us know in the comments if you do, or you know anyone that does. Let us know which one's your favorite. Let us know what you think about collecting old barbells. Like, would that have any place for you, or are you like, well, no, I want a new barbell with the best knurling, or is there a use for these? And I would say we use these. Massenomics Gym is a gym that you lift in. We lift in Massenomics Gym, and I don't buy old equipment not to be lifted. So it still gets used. I've used every one of these. I actually lean towards using these anymore because I just like
You're
to
a
use
vintage
them.
guy.
Yeah, I like to use them for the novelty factor. That's our Texas Power Bars talk. Please make sure to like the video. Like I said, give us a comment. Let us know which one your favorite is. Mac, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one are you picking out of your sheath of barbells? If you went like this, so you're like,
Just loading them up.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Check out the Massenomics podcast. We'll check you next time.